Harry claims that 50 articles published by MGN's newspapers contains confidential information relating to him and the ones closest to him. Information that was allegedly not publicly known by any other means. Harry testified that every single article has caused me distress. All of these articles played an important role, a destructive role, in my growing up. The defendant's lawyer pressed Prince Harry on one article cited in the case from when he was 12 years old. An article the British Royal revealed he couldn't recall reading at the time. The lawyer, Green, then said, "If you don't have any recollection of reading the article at the time, how do you say that this particular article has caused you stress?" Harry replied, saying, "I was a child, I was at school, these articles were incredibly invasive, and every single time one was written, it had an effect on my life and the people around me, my mother, in this case." Harry went on to say some editors and journalists do have blood on their hands for causing distress and perhaps inadvertently death, which of course is a reference to Princess Diana. On the stand today, Harry also talked about calling his mother from school on a landline phone. He suggested that phone, or Diana's, could have been hacked. He even suggested maybe his doctor's phone was hacked in regard to one particular article where he broke his thumb at school, having a surprising amount of detail. Green accused Harry of entering into the realms of total speculation. During cross-examination, Harry was pressed on his relationship with the British media. Green, do you not have hostility toward the press? Harry, I was trying to answer your question. Green, would it be right to say you have a long-standing hostility toward the press because of its intrusion into your life? Harry, yes, that is correct. Harry's testimony on the 55-page witness statement submitted by him and his attorneys is expected to continue tomorrow. His own attorney will likely then elicit testimony on redirect examination, so basically submits his statement, cross-examination, then his lawyer. Joining me now is prominent UK media lawyer Mark Stevens. Thanks so much for coming on the program. Really appreciate it. So explain this to us. This is one of a number of cases he has brought against the tabloids there?
Yes, he's suing the Murdoch press, the Rothermere press, and the Mirror Group. And the case that's on foot at the moment is the Mirror Group. And of course, there's no smoking gun, no sort of dispositive evidence that he was hacked and that the newspaper used illegal means to obtain information about him. But he says there's a very strong inferential case that essentially the information that they have got, they could only have got by illegal means.
Now, the standard in England is lower to sue a media organization than in the United States. What do they have to prove? What does he have to prove in order to win this case?
Well, the burden is on Harry to show that the information that was published in those articles was obtained by unlawful means. Phone hacking, or as it's known in the trade in the UK, blagging, that is, using deception to access, for example, bank records, phone records, driver's records, or indeed medical evidence. And of course, there are some issues here that those all were things that were in the paper. And the Mirror is really sort of starting a few bouts down, really, because essentially back in 2015, it was determined by another judge in a trial that they had been involved in phone hacking. They named the journalists that were found to have been phone hacked, and also private detectives who worked alongside them. And those names feature prominently in this case, and Prince Harry was repeating them as part of his cross-examination today.
So to be clear, the Mirror Group has admitted to previous hacking, correct? But they're saying that these allegations that Harry is suing over now didn't happen?
Yeah, so they're saying essentially that it's unreasonable to infer that just because people were hacking phones at one point, that they were continuing to do that years later.
What do you expect the outcome will be here?
I think that Harry's going to win at least some of the points that he's made. If you liken this to a boxing match, there was no knockout punch today, but there was a put down. So Harry put down the lawyer for the Mirror Group newspaper because he said, well, what's sensitive about this particular story that they were looking at? And he said, well, it's got my travel arrangements, it's got my airline logs, it knows all of the details of where we are. And of course, He looked very crestfallen at that because he knows that that's information which is essentially done by the diplomatic security detail.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.